Today, we're going to talk about flat fees, hourly fees, and subscription fees. Now, you might expect that I'm the type of person who would really be pushing the new types of alternative fees, meaning flat fees and subscriptions. But the fact is, in the early days, I think there really is a place for hourly fees as well. I think that's all about context, and really what I espouse is an all of the above approach. So first, let's define what we're talking about. The way traditional lawyers charge is often through hourly fees. They'll take a deposit or a retainer, sometimes called a retainer deposit, where there's a flat amount that a client pays up front, and then the attorney holds that in their trust account. So it's usually an IOLTA account, and it's still the client's money legally until it's earned. Then the attorney keeps track of their time, itemizing all their tasks down to the 10th of the hour, and the attorney sends a monthly invoice to the client. And after sending that invoice, we'll be able to transfer the earned portion from the retainer into the attorney's business account. If the attorney completes the matter before exhausting the retainer deposit, then the attorney refunds the retainer to the client. If the retainer is exhausted and the client wants the attorney to keep going, they ask them to replenish the retainer or bill them in arrears. An alternative spin is the evergreen retainer, where a client pays that amount up front and that amount is held in trust, and then the client has to pay every invoice while that amount just sits in trust as a sort of insurance policy for the attorney. But clients typically don't want that type of arrangement, so it might be less common, particularly with smaller firms. Flat fees are not billed based on the amount of time the attorney spends on a matter, but rather based on the task or deliverable that the attorney has to produce for the client. X amount for creating an estate plan or drafting a contract, for example. That's what we typically refer to as flat fees or fixed fees. Legal insurance as an employment benefit is another form of flat fees. If somebody has legal insurance as an employment benefit and they call your firm to draft a contract or an estate plan for them or represent them in a small litigation matter or something, then under those plans, the insurance company would typically pay you on a flat fee basis. Subscription fees are where clients pay you a fixed amount every month, regardless, or other interval, regardless of the amount of work you do in that particular month. So some months come out a little better for you, some months come out a little better for the client. A client may pay you a fixed amount where you have to do a little extra work one month, but it's quiet the next, and so there's some risk involved on both sides, but both sides might appreciate the certainty of subscriptions. A common type of subscription arrangement is a fractional general counsel or outside general counsel, outside inside counsel. I've also heard it referred to as outhouse counsel. So which is best? All of them, none of them. It depends on the context. I'm not a purist. In our early days, the hourly fees were essential. The first fee I ever took was a fixed fee, but after that, many of our early cases were hourly fees, and that was really important as a firm to know that if I'm going to do more work, I'm going to be paid more. Hourly fees are often appropriate for litigation where you don't know exactly what's going to happen because part of that is outside of your control. What's the other side going to do? What is the judge going to do? You don't know when the case will resolve or how a litigation matter is going to unfold, and so it's appropriate to be paid hourly so that you're not taking on all the risk. Now, you can structure flat fees to be task-based even with litigation, but sometimes it gets more complicated than it's worth, and it always involves some inherent risk. So I do like the certainty of how hourly rates, particularly litigation, offer that certainty in litigation. So those are some of the pros of hourly fees. The cons with hourly fees are that it can lead to unhappy clients because of the surprise element, and they don't understand why you may be doing more work one month, for example. So it takes a lot more client communication to keep clients happy as they see bills fluctuate each month. Flat fees are nice because you have a guaranteed amount of money, or essentially guaranteed as long as you create the work product in accordance with your engagement letter with the client. They're nice for clients because of the certainty involved so that they can actually set a budget for their household or their business. The downside of flat fees is if you're not careful, you can really get hosed as an attorney, where if you undercharge and you allow scope creep where the project gets bigger and bigger than you expected, then you wind up doing a lot of uncompensated work, and that's not fair to you. So the way to avoid that is to define your scope really well in your engagement letter and then to stick to it even if the client wants to expand that scope. And you might just have to have a frank conversation that if they want to go beyond that scope, it will involve additional fees. Subscriptions are tough. I have a complicated relationship with them because they seem like such a good idea to me. However, when we have tried it before at our firm, it hasn't always led to happy clients because they say, well, I didn't ask for any work last month, so can I get extra work this month? But they don't appreciate that the fluctuation is built into the price already. We haven't had much business in the subscription fees, leading to happy, engaged clients. So it just hasn't worked for us. It hasn't come naturally to us, but maybe we just haven't done it enough. I know that other firms have had good results with subscriptions and fractional general counsel work. So all three types of those things are things that we have tried. I don't think one is better than the other. They depend on the lawyer and the client and the practice area. They're really context specific. I think the modern law firm is well served to diversify fee structures. That's why in Practice, our practice management software, we accommodate all types of those fees. One thing that can make engagement letters so complicated is the different fee types require different language in your engagement letters. In Practice, the engagement letters live within the system. They come preloaded with different language for each type of fee, which of course you can edit to meet your own needs. What this does is it creates a smart automation where it auto-populates correct language based on fee type without you having to do anything. When you enter a new case, you simply select your type of fee, and the system only asks you the questions that are relevant to your fee type. This is good because if you're trying to train an admin to enter new cases for you, you don't have to train them on which fields to fill in or ignore in a sea of a million different fields. It only asks for the relevant information. So you enter that in, then when you go to accept the case and send the engagement letter, everything is automatically where you want it, how you want it. Then you send the engagement letter to the client directly through the app with just the click of a button. And when they sign, it automatically updates the case to open status and assigns you a task to begin working on the case. Now, one thing you might have noticed from this video is one thing all fee types have in common is that they require good communication with your clients. You may have heard me say that actually at every point in every type of fee. It requires you communicating well with your clients so that there are no surprises. You're being fairly compensated. The clients understand what they're paying and they're paying a fair amount when you communicate. So really the best type of fee is the type of fee that enjoys open communication between attorney and client. So how's that for a cop-out answer? I'd love to hear in the comments what's worked for you or what challenges you may have had and what types of fees you're using in your law firm. Please like, subscribe, check out Practice, and thank you so much for watching.